मित्रांनो, परीक्षेमध्ये जास्तीत जास्त गुण मिळविण्यासाठी सततचा सराव खूपच महत्त्वाचा असतो. आम्ही बनविलेले व्हिडिओज जर आपण पुन्हा पुन्हा पाहिले व शेवटपर्यंत पाहिले तर नक्कीच त्याचा खूप फायदा होईल. आपण टॉप स्कोरर बनाल, कारण प्रॅक्टिस मेक्स मॅन परफेक्ट. मित्रांनो, आम्ही आपल्यासाठी चांगल्यात चांगले व्हिडिओज बनवत आहोत. जर तुम्ही आमचा चॅनल सबस्क्राईब कराल, आमचे व्हिडिओज इतरांना शेअर कराल, व्हिडिओजवर लाईक व कमेंट कराल, तर आम्ही तुमच्यासाठी जास्तीत जास्त व्हिडिओज घेऊन येऊ. आमचा माय बेस्ट गुरु चॅनल सबस्क्राईब बटनवर क्लिक करून सबस्क्राईब करा.
Question number 1. Choose the right option and rewrite the sentence. 1. A system of independent and sovereign states. Options are political system, international system, social system, and none of these. Answer: international system. So a system of independent and sovereign states is international system. 2. The main responsibility of the United Nations. Options are to avoid war, independence of colonies, improving the economics of different nations, and disarmament. Answer is to avoid war. 3. The Cold War ended with this event. Options: establishment of the United Nations, disintegration of the Soviet Union, creation of military organizations, or Cuban Missile Crisis. Answer is disintegration of the Soviet Union. The Cold War ended with this event of disintegration of the Soviet Union. Question number 2. Explain with reasons whether the following statements are true or false. 1. The League of Nations was established after the First Cold War. Answer: true. Reasons: 1. The First World War led to a great loss of property and life. 2. Nations thought that there should be no any such war measures would be taken. 3rd, the League of Nations was an international organization was created after the First World War to provide a forum for resolving international disputes to avoid war situation. 2. The world became unipolar due to the Cold War. Answer: false. Reasons: 1. The world became bipolar at the time of the Cold War and was divided into opposing camps of the capitalist led by America and the socialist led by Soviet Union. 2. Most of the countries joined the power of the blocs headed by these two superpowers. Therefore, the world became bipolar at the time of the Cold War. 3. The policies of Mikhail Gorbachev gave an impetus to democratization. Answer: true. Reasons: 1. The Soviet Union adopted the policy of opening up the economy. The state loosened up its control of the economy. 2. Then President of the Soviet Union, Mikhail Gorbachev, implemented the policies of perestroika, means restructuring, and the glasnost, means openness. 3. Due to these policies, the control over the media reduced. Important changes took place in the political and economic spheres. Thus, the policies of Mikhail Gorbachev gave an impetus to democratization. Question number 3. Explain the following concepts. 1. Cold War. Answer. 1. The concept of Cold War is used to describe the condition where there is no actual war, but there are such tensions in the circumstances that they may be responsible to cause war. 2. In this period, America was already a superpower, but the struggle for power, arm race, differences in ideologies, attitude of checkmating each other by strategies and counter strategies. This gave rise to the Cold War. 3. In 1945, Cold War came to an end as the Soviet Union disintegrated into several new nations. 2. Non-alignment. Answer. 1. In the period of Cold War, while the world was becoming bipolar, there were some countries which did not want to join the superpower. 2. Such nations decided to stay out of the Cold War. Their policy is known as non-alignment. Non-alignment was an important movement during the Cold War. 3. Our India's Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru was the leader of this movement. Interdependence. Answer. All the countries of the world are dependent on each other for one reason or the other. 2. However big, prosperous or developed a nation may be, it can never be self-sufficient about all its needs. Even big nations have to depend upon other big and small nations. 3. Thus, interdependence is an important feature of the international system as today's global system. 4. Bipolarization. Answer. 1. During the Cold War, most of the countries of the world joined either of the two superpower blocs. 2. The division of nations between two superpowers is called bipolarization. 3. At the time of the Cold War, America and the Soviet rose as a superpowers and formed their military alliances. Due to this, scope of the Cold War increased. 5. Globalization. Answer. 1. After the end of Cold War, trade and economic relations between countries became more open. 2. The capital, labor, markets and information began circulating globally. 3. The give and take of ideas among people all over the world grew. 4. Due to the revolution in information technology, different events and developments began to be known everywhere. 5. The boundaries between nations did not remain as sacrosanct as they were before. All these processes are together called globalization. Question number 4. Give your opinion on the following topics. 1. What measures should the League of Nations have taken to avoid the Second World War? Answer. 1. League of Nations was established after the First World War to establish peace. 2. It would have to control autocratic regimes in Germany, Italy, Spain and other countries. 3. It could summon representatives from the different countries and solve their disputes by making their talks together and could teach them the disadvantages of the war. 2. Non-alignment was necessary during the Cold War. Answer. 1. In the period of Cold War, some of the countries joined superpowers, either the Soviet Union or the United States. 2. There were some countries which were suffering from poverty and economic crisis and were fed up of war. They wanted peace. these countries decided to stay out of the Cold War. Their policy is known as non-alignment. Therefore, non-alignment was necessary during the Cold War. 3. Human welfare was neglected due to the Cold War. Answer 1. In order to gain the world supremacy, the superpowers established military organizations. 2. They raised the arms and spent billions of dollars on the arms and armaments. 3. Storing the nuclear armaments created the tension and pressure in the people. 4. Lot of money was spent on the research and development of armaments, but the human welfare was ignored. In this way, the human welfare was neglected due to the Cold War. 4. Which countries can come up as superpowers as competitors to America in the present times? Answer 1. After the disintegration, Russia became weak, but it has developed itself and now has a power to be a superpower. 2. Now China has surpassed the America in economic activities and has also gained the military power and trying to extend the borders. It is trying to be the best in the world. 3. India is also in the race of becoming an economic power. Question number 5. Write brief answers. 1. Compare the First World War and the Second World War with the help of the following points. So the chart is given. The first point is period. So the period of First World War was 1914 to 1918, while the period of Second World War was 1939 to 1945. Involved nations. In Allied powers, Britain, France, Russia, Italy, America, while Central powers, Germany, Austria-Hungary, Ottoman Empire, Bulgaria. So in Second World War, Allied powers, Britain, France, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, India, Soviet Union, China, America. While in Axis powers, Germany, Japan, Italy. So impacts political and economical. In First World War, economic loss for the victors and the defeated, and it affected even the countries that did not join the war. While in Second World War, economic loss for the victors as well as defeated, it affected even the countries that did not join the war. International organizations established after the war. So, after the First World War, League of Nations and Permanent Court of International Justice were established, while after the Second World War, United Nations, regional organizations like ASEAN, EEC, non-aligned movements were established. 2. What were the factors responsible for the end of the Cold War? Answer. The factors responsible for the end of the Cold War were: 1. The Soviet Union adopted the policy of opening up the economy. The state loosened up its control of the economy. 2. Then President of the Soviet Union, Mikhail Gorbachev, implemented the policies of perestroika, that is restructuring, and the glasnost, that is openness. 3. Due to these policies, the control over the media reduced. Important changes took place in political and economical spheres. Thus, the policies of Mikhail Gorbachev gave an impetus to democratization. Fourth, the Soviet Union disintegrated and several new nations were created out of it. These things put an end of the Cold War. 3. What major changes occurred in global politics after the end of the Cold War? Answer: 1. Power structure and the relations in between the nations changed. 2. One of the big changes that happened was the collapse of USSR, giving birth to Russia as a successor state. 3. America remained the only superpower in the world. 4. A favorable environment prevailed for growth of trade and economic relations marked by easier flow of capital, labor, information and ideas. 5. The global focus shifted to fostering trade relations instead of aid giving. Economic interdependence grew. Sixth, environmental concerns, human rights, gender equality, etc. acquired a global dimension. Now, extra questions. What is your opinion? 1. The League of Nations was established to prevent war, but it failed to avoid war. What measures should the League have taken to prevent war? Answer: 1. League of Nations was established after the First World War to establish peace. 2. It would have to control autocratic regimes in Germany, Italy, Spain and other countries. 3. It could summon representatives from the different countries and solve their disputes by making their talks together and could teach them the disadvantages of the war. 4. They must have been warned the belligerent nations of military action if they indulged in aggression on other nations. 5. The League of Nations must have built up the world public opinions and exerted pressure on the belligerent nations. 2. Is there any correlation between the advances in technologies and world peace? Answer: advances in technology and world peace are correlated. Advances in technology can demote world peace in the following ways. 1. Nuclear power is established. 2. New weapons are developed and can be used, such as new types of missiles, fighter planes, etc. 3. Proxy wars have been started. Advances in technology can promote world peace as well in the following ways. 1. Due to mobile phones, internet, social media apps, globalization is initiated. 2. Easy communication is made, so world has come nearer. 3. How can technology be used for human welfare? Answer: 1. Technology being used for in all the fields. Technological revolution is mainly causing to our human welfare. 2. Technology have both advantages and disadvantages. It improves our lifestyle. Computer, internet, mobile phones totally changed our daily life. 3. From technology we can learn different ideas, new inventions. It makes our work easy. It improves our business, education, marketing, science field. 4. New invention is a mobile phone. It helps us to communicate each other. Let us write. The Second World War fought between 1939 and 1945. 1. What events were unfolding in India during this period? Answer. During the Second World War, 1939 to 1945, India was controlled by the United Kingdom, with the British holding territories in India including over 500 autonomous princely states. British India officially declared war on Nazi Germany in September 1939. 2. What was the effect of the Second World War on India? Answer. 1. During the Second World War, India was controlled by the British holding territories in India including over 500 autonomous princely states. 2. Indians fought with distinction throughout the world, including in the European theatre against Germany, in North Africa against Germany and Italy, in the South Asian region defending India against the Japanese and fighting the Japanese in Burma. 3. Indian participation in the Allied campaign remained strong. The financial, industrial and military assistance of India formed a crucial component of the British campaign against Nazi Germany and Imperial Japan. Why so? NATO still exists, but its nature is no longer military. Find out the countries that are members of NATO. Answer. Belgium, Canada, Denmark, France, Iceland, Italy, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, Norway, Portugal, the United Kingdom, the United States, and Greece are the members of NATO. Write an essay on the topic Futility of War. Some points have been given below to help you discuss them. Answer. A state of armed conflict between different countries or different groups within a country is called war. Problems can be solved by discussion and negotiations, but most of the time people or the leaders don't do that. It then results into a large-scale destruction to life and property. War puts spanner in the wheel of development. Development is stopped and drops the countries in economical crisis. War is totally futile as it gives many more disadvantages and it has no or negligible advantages. Who suffered it and who experienced it can understand the futility of war. Suggest a word. 1. When many countries emerge as superpowers in the international system, what can that system be called? Answer. It is called International System of Units. Let's do this. The Cuban Missile Crisis 1962 was an important event in the Cold War period. Find out more about this event. Answer. 1. The Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962 was a direct and dangerous confrontation between the United States and the Soviet Union during the Cold War and was the moment when the two superpowers came closest to nuclear conflict. 2. The crisis was unique in a number of ways, featuring calculations and miscalculations as well as direct and secret communications and miscommunications between the two sides. The dramatic crisis was also characterized by the fact that it was primarily played out at the White House and the Kremlin level.
मित्रांनो, आम्ही आपल्यासाठी चांगल्यात चांगले व्हिडिओज बनवत आहोत. जर तुम्ही आमचा चॅनल सबस्क्राईब कराल, आमचे व्हिडिओज इतरांना शेअर कराल, व्हिडिओजवर लाईक व कमेंट कराल, तर आम्ही तुमच्यासाठी जास्तीत जास्त व्हिडिओज घेऊन येऊ. आमचा माय बेस्ट गुरु चॅनल सबस्क्राईब बटनवर क्लिक करून सबस्क्राईब करा.